What's going on, Pokemon fans? I want to talk about Arceus Giratina today, why it's my top choice for a League Cup. We're going to try to keep it real quick and concise. I played the deck back at Peoria Regionals, got top 40 out of 1,200, so that top 64 prizing. I've loved the deck ever since. We just watched it win Portland Regionals, piloted by Landon, and then we watched Cash Vinder win it Singapore Regionals. So it's clearly got something to it. Why I think, besides that, it's just good. A good choice for League Cups. League Cups are best of one traditionally. Regionals are best of three. So you've got more opportunities, more margin of error. You can have a bad game. Best of one at League Cups, you can't really. Some decks, one prize decks, things like that, you could get donked. It's just a low HP Pokemon in the active gets KO'd and you have no follow-up. And that sucks. Then your round's over and you've just got that loss. So I think Arceus is really good at not having that bad start. You're kind of always playing the game, provided you start Arceus plus energy. You control those things by playing a lot of outs to Arceus Vs and then playing a lot of energies. You can even go up to 4 V-Star, so turn 2, all you're looking for is a V-Star to really be in there. That's what helps Arceus decks be so consistent, is whatever you're looking for a strong turn 1, you've got Arceus V-Star's ability. Starbirth lets you go grab any 2 cards. You need to keep making good decisions throughout the middle and the end, and I think this deck has a really simple decision tree. It kills me when I watch this. I know you've seen it too at League Cups. You see it so often, players humming and hawing over their hand, and they're not making any decisions or actions for so long. And besides being illegal, that's because they're thinking through all these different lines on which ones throw and which ones win. Arceus, that decision should be relatively straightforward. You know, you're just deciding at one point in the game, do I want to stop accelerating energies into play with Arceus, and when can I afford to start removing them from play with the Giratina? Balls are different at League Cups. You know what your locals like to play. You know what your friends like to play. Regionals, you're working with averages. Locals, it's like, okay, how much Goodra do I always see my locals play? How much Mew VMAX do I always see my locals play? So this, I think, with League Cups, you can afford to make some gutsier calls, I think. That being said, PSA, don't hard counter your homies without some kind of discussion. I saw a tweet that someone added extra switch outs in this deck that never plays switch outs because a friend of theirs brings Mawile, a card that traps stuff in the active. I don't know if there was discussion. If there's not some kind of discussion, that's insane to me. I guess it depends what you see as right, but for me, I like Duraludon, for instance. Duraludon beats a Lugia that's not prepared. My friend who plays Lugia brings Urshifu VMAX. That is a counter to Duraludon. We test that. We talk about that. I know if we're driving in the same car going to a League Cup, he may bring that, I may bring my thing. That's all you got to do is just I think you should just have the vague discussion in a group chat, I might play this, I might play this. You don't need to tell them, here's my 60, but the homie hard counter 1 or 2 card tech just feels wrong. I don't know. I'd love to talk more about that. Someone comment something if that isn't how you see it. Cards you can include if your locals like to play different things. So Mew VMAX and Gardevoir EX. You would love Cleansing Gloves is good into both of those. Landon won regionals with Cleansing Gloves, doing 30 more to Psychic Pokemon. I think Cleansing Gloves with the 4 boss, pretty good. Gardevoir can really build towards a late game where they know you're not going to take a 2-prizer. But Cleansing Gloves plus boss, you can get that Giratina V-Star KO on the Garda EX. That's really good. And then it's a second choice belt in the Mew VMAX matchup. So I think that's something. Other than that, Judge Path is the Gardevoir EX plan. I think Avery can be good as well. You're always looking for more draw supporters, and Avery can really limit their bench, forcing them down to just the Ralts. So then your escape ropes force up Ralts. I really like that. Goodra V-Star is huge at my local, so I've included extra escape rope, and that's why I love the 4 boss count as well. You really just want to have E-Rope boss at some point in the game. That coupled with Shred, you're really able to make Rolling Iron a non-issue. You can play Sharon's Care. I played Sharon's for my League Cup. It didn't really serve me. We watched Landon beat a lot of Lost Zone. He had to get pretty lucky, but Judge Path is often enough with intelligent benches, evolving things at the right time, and not going Giratina V-Star early or something and running out of energy. Just being 3 big Arceuses and Judge Path is pretty good and can be enough. But if you have a bunch of Sablezard and Kyogre or whatever, I don't know, maybe Sharon's Care is the move. I like 1 in a Pelpad. Arc Mirrors, you're the best. You're the apex predator, Arceus. So if there's a lot of Arc Duraludon, I don't think you change the list. That's great. Going back to Mew, you could play Drapion, but then you need Pumpkaboo or a Stadium Bump. I think 4 Path is just the best, so I don't want to touch that. And we lost Quick Ball, so we don't have good search for Pumpkaboo. So I don't I don't. I think V-Guards and then your guys and maybe a Cleansing Gloves, that's great into Mew VMAX. I'm beating plenty. Yeah, I want to talk about my League Cup real quick. I play in Middle Tennessee. We were out in Goodlettsville. 64 people. It was at TNLG, the Next Level Games. Awesome game store. I love living near it. I hit Palkia deck. Lapine, Ian Robb, Palkia Special. That one you just don't bench. That plays just like it used to. Palkia was pretty good provided you don't just brick. So that's as straightforward as it gets. You just don't need to extend your bench. You keep it just like 2 V-Stars and you're way good. Duraludon, Szymanski's Curse Breaker. He finally took down a huge event with that Duraludon Vulpix at the start of the format. I think you're just the better Arceus deck. You're very often able to go boss, boss, boss and win, or you taking a 2-shot into their Dura is like good enough. Plus any Vs that you don't want to get set up, you just boss KO. You kind of know that they're damage capped and you're not. I think that's really what it boils down to. You can kill a 280 to 310 V Pokemon, they can't. So I got donked twice. The first one here is by that Rapid Strike Urshifu deck. He just had the nuts. I went first and he went 100 Furious Blows turn 1 with a Melanie. That is what it is. I don't think you change the list. I don't think you include Dunsparce. Urshifu is just a brick. You'll see I beat it this next round. Well, 2 rounds later. It just is a pile. And if you can get to your Giratinas set up, you can really afford to take 2 shots on the VMAXs with like a double turbo on your Giratina V-Star and discarding that. That's fine. You don't need to go a bunch of Arceuses. Them KOing an Arceus was super effective. Doesn't really matter. And even an Arceus with a V-Guard isn't KO'd from either of its attacks. Then I hit that Kyra meme that's like 30 water energies, Judge Path, too easy. He couldn't hit Irida for vacuum kind of a thing. Then I hit Lost Zone, and that's what I mean. That Lost Zone matchup isn't great. I got donked by the Dragonite turn 2. They just had an insane setup. Oh no, it was their 3rd turn. I whiffed the V-Star. So both these donks, I whiffed the V-Star. That happened a couple times. I don't hate 4 V-Star in best of 1. I've seen that a lot in Japanese meta at a lot of their city leagues and stuff. I would do 4 V-Star before Capturing Aroma. So if anyone out there is playing Capturing Aroma or Great Ball for Arceus V-Star, I mean, just play the 4 V-Star. They serve you good in a lot of matchups. I mean, in the Lost Zone stuff, you want to go all Arceuses anyway. For the most part, I mean, I guess there's definitely some logic to Giratina V-Star in some matchups. Yeah, here's the list I played. I'm such a Skwovet believer now. Before Portland, this was right before Portland, I had decided I do love Skwovet in the list. You can see I played the Sharons. I don't think it mattered. It was like win more in the games that I won. And obviously I didn't make it far enough to see it into the Lost Zone game. So I think I'm going to cut the Sharons. It worked for Landon. I'm gonna give it a shot. 2 E-Rope has been a blast for me. As long as there's Goodra at my locals, I'm going to stick with that. I think that 3rd Trekking Shoes, the Sharons, the 2nd E-Rope, those you could kind of play with and change some counts. Again, I'm on 4 Boss now as well. The 3rd Research is always great. Now getting into some different ways to play the deck. So going on to a couple more fun techs. The first, so this just got top 4. Well, okay, so Arceus Giratina Umbreon got top 4 at a Japanese city league. I don't quite know, but it was 80 people. They play best of 1, so that's just like our League Cup format. I mean, it went the distance for them. I think it's pretty cool. I think Umbreon, in the early game, you don't, if you go first, you don't need a path in play on turn 1, and then head into your 2nd turn, you may be able to Dark Signal, use the Umbreon VMAX's ability, and then Judge Path or something. So it kind of gives you a chance to boss something, Gust Effect, and Judge Path. But I think the biggest reason you're playing it is that Dark typing, besides the Cleansing Gloves, Judge Path strat into Guardy, which is so-so. I would need to see, some Trainer Hill data or play it more to say I'm favored. But it can't be unfavored. It just, I don't know. It feels fine. And again, Landon beat 4 Gardevoir. So that can be enough. So if it is, why even touch it? But it's still fun to consider these things. Umbreon was also in that top 8 at Portland and proved there's something to it. It could fit here. Arceus Giratina with another partner is in a lot of top cuts overseas. We've liked it less here in the States. It's been in online tournaments, Arceus Giratina Pikachu, stuff like that. Arceus Giratina Vulpix was a little bit at the beginning of the format after Alex Szymanski's win with Vulpix. But I think you could do this. This also, I think, allows a boss Guardy KO a lot easier than the Cleansing Gloves, because on a 280 HP V-Star, you attach those Cleansing Gloves, that's a target. That's easy to boss KO with their Zacian V. One more energy or a little harder to KO when you're 310 HP, and you don't need that tool. That's what I was trying to say. Allows you to just be thick and exist on the bench, and then you just, you know, boss KO towards the end with your Umbreon. Also, high HP, 310 with a V-Guard into Mew VMAX, pretty good. You've got 340 HP on a Dark type. So if he comes up untouched and kills a Mew VMAX, plus you Judge Path or something, like, they're not going to kill the Umbreon. They're just not, and then you're just looking to kill one more Mew VMAX. So a lot of Mew in your area, a lot of Gardevoir. I think this is super a consideration. We'll dive into a game in a second, but one more deck list that you could try if you wanted to adapt Arceus Giratina for your... Like I mentioned, Arceus Giratina Pikachu, this exists. This is doing well. This has CP over in Japan. We just don't like it here. I don't know. I think Pikachu does get better headed into the next set, so that's a thing. But that being said, there's still 20% Lost Zone, you know, at our regionals. Lost Zone decks having all basic Pokemon, all who can't hit Pikachu after you get an attack off. The loss of Scoop Up Net does make Lost Zone stuff play more escape ropes than ever. They've all got 4 escape ropes. That forces that Pikachu out of the active. But they don't have the ability to E-Rope boss kill the Pikachu, usually. I mean, they can Raikou and stuff, but provided your bench isn't full, they still often don't even reach that number. And they usually need to burn some escape ropes in the early game to even play. So Pikachu plus Judge Path, they probably only have an E-Rope or 2 left. And having a 310 Pikachu that can't be hit, plus a 280, plus a 280 V-Stars, like, they can't get through that. They probably can't get through that. So I think the Pikachu could make your Lost Zone stuff even better. Again, I think, like I've mentioned in this video, we saw Landon do just fine without Sharon's and without an answer. But that, I think his loss and his tie were to Lost Zone stuff. So Pikachu could swing that. All right, diving into a game. We are playing against Mew, so we get a chance to showcase the Umbreon. Opening hand is fine. Going second, at least we've got Draw Supporter. Obviously, we want an energy. It's going to be a tough choice between Judge or Research. They're probably going to Path us, or that's a high chance of it. Judging ourselves under Path sounds bad. And we really want to see Double Turbo and more Pokemon establish a board state, so it looks like to me we're going to have to Research based on this. I love seeing the Nest Ball. At this moment, it looks like I'm going to go Giratina plus an Umbreon. But I would really prefer into Mew to go Arc Umbreon. With the addition of Umbreon, you don't need the Giratina. Giratina doesn't really add anything to this matchup. With the Choice Belt or Basic Energies, your Arceus V-Star can get high enough damage to get the Genesect, so there's really no pro there. So I drew into the Arceus, which makes it better. I am going to try to go that Arceus Umbreon. I checked my prizes real quick, and I found out I prized the Umbreon VMAX. So I'm not going to Nova to it. It's a big enough target as is, being Dark type. I don't think I gain anything from waiting to bench it. By then it'll be too late. No matter what, it'll be a target whenever I bench it. So I'm opting to do it now to just have it, because the Mew, we all know now, just Judge Path, Judge Path, Judge Path. They're going to keep disrupting the hand, so if I keep the Umbreon, I'm never going to see it again. Sometimes the line can look like killing 3-2 prizers or like a 3-2-1. I think with what's happening so far, it looks like I'm going to have to just kill both VMAXs. With the addition of the Umbreon, I really want to chase that line, killing 2 VMAXs, because I have such a clean one-shot. Seeing them burn a tab is good. I think on that turn they burned 2 of them. So I know they're not going to be able to kill the VMAX in one shot. I decide I do need to bench an Arceus here, as this Arceus could go down before I draw prizes. So I'm going to have to, I need to have a chance to take a knockout with an Arceus if I want any shot of drawing Umbreon off the prizes. So that's why I bench another Arceus. I Judge Path. I essentially say, hey, I'm hoping you don't Gust effect off of this, and I'm going to try to make him go through this active V-Star. Now I decide I've only got so many energies, I can charge up that Umbreon, and with damage on his board, I'm going to try to get that knockout now. to hit the VMAX off of the prizes. I get ready to concede because the KO here looks terrible, but he judges us, and now the hand looks better. Because I have the boss, I can chase those prizes. I can boss KO the benched VMAX that's damaged and hopefully hit the Umbreon off of the prizes. But you can tell if he gets the KO here, that's contingent upon an energy. But he whiffs everything, and then I hit what I need. So I've got an energy to go to a benched Pokemon. I decide I'm going to split the difference here. I know I prized an energy as well, an energy or two, so I'm hoping I can hit Umbreon plus energy off of the prizes. I do have a 0-card hand, but the prizes end up absolutely perfect. I'm able to hit the Umbreon VMAX and an energy. Choice Belt as well goes farther, as the Oricoreo's ability prevents even an Arceus with basic energies KOing a Genesect, but Belt could make it, so I'm going to do that. But killing the VMAX, I'm going to chase the 3-prizer. We put him in a really tough spot. I mean, Mew just can dead draw under Path. This is where Arceus Giratina is good enough often, but I think if I can just draw out of this, like, I don't know, we can wait. There's nothing he could really gust and kill at this point. I decided to play the E-Rope. Everything he promotes is prizes. I think most play for Vacuum, but they can only do that so many times with Path being dead cards, and we're just going to hit Path every single turn. That's where the Belt was kind of sick. Belt was KO on the Genesects as well, like no matter what we were taking prizes. And now we just retreat Umbreon, and so he concedes. So it didn't get a chance to see the Umbreon in action, but I feel like it's enough on board to show how it checkmates. I mean, he conceded for a few reasons, but there was ample opportunity to use the Umbreon provided I didn't prize it or the game goes a little differently. We all know how hard it is to look for great games on live. That's all I'm going to show today. So there's a bunch of different ways to play Arctina. The cards I like, the counts I'm willing to swap, and then 2 versions to try out. I don't know if I'd play them for cups yet. I think they need some work, but for league challenges, totally. I think Pika or Umbreon could be an awesome addition. All right, later.